A leader in the clubhouse. He's not in the leader house.
Oh, look at you finally catching on
He's
over there.
He's a leader in the clubhouse. If he wants to be in the leader house, he can be.
Yeah, well,
okay.
He's got to. If he works on this pod, he's got to be in the leader house. Oh, look at this guy over here. So coachable, ready to go. Listening to Simsisms. Don't do it too often or you will get stupider like me. Don't do it, please, all right? What's up, Chris Sims, Paul Burmeister? It's a Wednesday afternoon here at NBC Sports. And we got a little schedule release today.
We do, tonight.
We know week one.
Correct.
So we'll hit on some of the matchups there. We got a little bit of defensive breakdowns. Continuation of what we did on Monday with Ahmed, where we talked about top 5. We're going to go top 5 passing yards allowed, top 5 running yards allowed, points allowed, and going to have a conversation about the year in review of what we saw last year and maybe about what we expect this year. Going to hit on that, maybe some AMAs, hit on some of those. And when Paulie B's here, we're coming with quarterback trivia.
It's back.
It's back. And we're going back to the time machine of 2011.
For a reason.
And you might say, why? Why 2011? Because we've gone back to the Tim Tebow time machine. That's the last time he was relevant in football until now. And now we're going to talk about him more. And it's annoying. But we're not going to talk about him too much more because we talked about him on PFT a ton today. And if you want to see what I got to say about that, just tune into that. Go to the Peacock app. We got it on there and you can find it. But what's up? Sorry, I'm talking so much here.
And then I brought it up before, as we're kind of getting ready, putting everything on. I had to put it out there. And I knew you were kind of tired of it, but you still kind of went down that road a little bit, right?
I can't help it.
It's hard not to.
It is hard not to.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of issues I have with it. It's not personal to him.
No.
It's more personal to the overall look of it. And then a little bit to his fan base. That's where it's personal to, if you want to really get into it, where it's just like he can do no wrong, and he'll probably be the top tight end in football this year.
Oh, my gosh.
And why wouldn't they want to? They have a bad tight end room, so you signed Tim Tebow to make the room better. Oh, you do? A guy that's never played tight end? That's what you do to improve the tight end? They should tell the other 31 teams that. I don't think they knew that.
I was talking to Peter King about it on his podcast, I believe yesterday or the day before, about the possibility of him going to Jacksonville. My mind went not just to Tim Tebow, but to Urban Meyer, where coming from college, there are a lot of veterans in that locker room thinking, okay, all right, so worked in college, we'll just see, big guy.
Yeah.
We'll just see how it goes here with grown men. And then to possibly bring in someone who hasn't played for years.
Yes.
Who has that much fanfare. I mean, I think about the coach and what the players think of his credibility.
I think that's...
If he can play, it goes away.
I think that's
But until then, guarantee you there are vets in that locker room going, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, they're going to look out of the corner of their eye about, this situation and, Urban Meyer playing favorites. Listen, I understand it. I get it. The NFL, just like the rest of the world, it's become very political. It's not about what you know anymore. It's about who you know. And, yes, in this scenario, I mean, he's got the one guy who looks at him like a son, always has, always put him on a pedestal. I mean, damn, Urban Meyer gives him credit over Chris Leak for winning the national championship Tim Tebow wasn't on the field for. I mean, barely, right. So there's always that. He's got a real guy in his corner. It makes sense from a business aspect as far as they're in Jacksonville. But, like, for people to think he's going to run a Taysom Hill, part of his offense and things like that. Taysom Hill runs 4.4. Tim Tebow runs 4.7, and it's 8 years after the fact. He doesn't run 4.7 anymore.
Right.
So he's going to be slower. All right? Plus, he's not a great thrower to begin with. Taysom Hill has a rocket for an arm and can launch at 70 yards. And also throw 20-yard out routes that just, hum through the air. So there's a difference there. It's not the same athlete. It's not. And you didn't need to sign Tim Tebow to run the Taysom Hill thing. They got James Robinson. They can have Travis Etienne get in the Wildcat and run the ball, and they would have been fine. Okay, so all these excuses people are trying to make, oh, he looked good in his workout. Great. Give me a month. I could go out there and look pretty good for a workout with nobody out there. I mean, I'm dead serious. I mean, I am. Yeah, I'm 6'5". I'm 232. Let me go put on 10 pounds and run around. I'll look decent for a workout. And you'd go, damn, okay.
Doesn't mean you could do well in
Absolutely
July or August when it starts.
No, and
close.
It's just, to me, the ultimate example a little bit, and in this era where I said this to Mike Fleury yesterday, it's just to me a little bit of the example of white privilege in sports. That's what I kind of compare it to here. I can't really find another scenario where this has ever happened for anybody else. And I know people, like I saw someone, Aldon Smith. Aldon Smith was like the best at his position in the sport, had issues, whatever, league, drug test, all that, then missed 5 years and came back and played the same position. So that's a different, that's not apples to apples. That's apples to broccoli. I mean, that's not comparable. We're talking about a guy who played a position, failed. They asked him repeatedly to play tight end. He said, no, I'm a quarterback. I'm going to go play baseball. Plays baseball. No, you're not good at that. I want to play tight end now. And that's where I look at it. And I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm using that. Right. I don't like that. You know,
and the two
Rodgers gets bagged on for hijacking the draft and the storylines there. Tebow tried it first. I mean, that's not cool with me either. I'm not. I know I'm going off now. It's too late. It's
almost
too late.
Sorry I started it.
No, it's okay.
I do appreciate it.
Yeah, it's all right. And, you know, it's just so that's what bothers me, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's a nice way to start a pod in May.
Yes. I'm
right?
sorry.
I mean, how many other stories are going to get that kind of emotion?
Look, I'll make one more statement,
yes?
okay? And anybody on the pod, you can listen and you tell me what you think. I mean, really, I think he's in the conversation for the most overrated athlete of this century. I'm going to say that loud, yes.
Just because of the NFL, or are you including
I'm including college
as well?
too. I mean, winning the Heisman, going 9-4, you know, didn't even win the SEC Player of the Year. Darren McFadden did. 9-4. Has anyone won the Heisman going 9-4 quarterback?
Did win a national title when he was a starter, though,
he won
right?
a national title, great. But you know what bothers me about that too? He's the only one that won it. Let alone that was maybe one of the greatest college teams in the history.
It kind of happens with all quarterbacks.
I know, but it's just like you're right. I'm being a hater here. I am. But that place was more. That's where I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're right. It always happens with the quarterback.
Right.
I complain about that every year.
That's true.
I mean, that's consistent. That's consistent.
Yeah.
But with him, it was even greater. And it's like, no,
like
Percy Harvin and Joe Hayden and Aaron Hernandez and Carlos Dunlap, they were serving Gatorade. They weren't even doing anything. It was all Tebow. So that's what drives me crazy.
Yeah.
All right. So sorry.
Now you went right to the main course and skipped the appetizers.
Damn. I know. Some subjects you just can't get me going on. I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry.
But before we move on to the schedule,
I
do want to point out a couple of things that have happened here in the last 10 days. As we've both kind of crossed in, we've both crossed into new decades of our life. I appreciate how you're doing some things to kind of bring us closer together. Last week, you talked about falling asleep on the couch with food in your hand. So that was nice.
Good.
And now you have a soft tissue injury that should never happen. That happened because you're aging.
Dude.
So this is all good.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
We're coming together? You mean 40 and 50s meeting in the middle somewhere?
I feel like somewhere in there you're doing it for me. For these hour and a half sessions we have once
I
a week.
like you a lot, but I don't like you that much, all right?
Not for the pulled calf?
No.
Yeah.
That's totally messing up.
You're a little gimpy.
And I'm better. I mean, I've been walking around like I'm like a zombie the last 2 days. I can't push off that left leg.
Yeah.
So yes, it's been a rough year. I've had back issues. I started the year spraining my right testicle.
Wait.
Yeah, you missed that. You were out for that little period.
How do you do that?
I must have.
I understand the calf.
I don't know.
Treadmill.
I was sitting here with Ahmed. We had a live discussion about it. I got up and I was like, ooh, I don't know if something got caught the wrong way down there. And I had a sore testicle.
Is it a sprain or a strain?
So whatever. Is there a difference when you're talking testicles? I think it's all painful, okay?
That's some alliteration I didn't think I'd hear.
No, you didn't know. We had a lot of good pre-podcast combos
How did I
today.
miss that one? Yeah, no, we did.
We did. I mean, I also, I'll peel back the curtain. I let my kid watch, my 10-year-old kid watch Django Unchained last night.
Questionable.
Questionable dad.
Yeah, Tarantino with the 10-year-old, I don't know.
I understand. And please, if you have comments on that, please.
You startled Pete
I like
when you
those
told him
type
that.
of things.
Pete walked out here,
Yes.
and even with his mask on, I could tell. He was like, what?
Yeah, well, I didn't hear my kid yelling last night from nightmares. So, he got a little history lesson for sure.
He did.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Schedule. Circuitous route to the schedule tonight. Are you going to watch? You going to watch it come out?
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. Yes.
Amazing production that's being put on by my old colleagues at NFL Network. Like, have you read about this?
No, tonight.
They're going to the stadium in LA.
Ooh, I did not know about that.
A couple, 3 hours at least. A lot of their big players. I mean, this is a big deal.
Okay, I like that.
You should watch it.
Yeah, I definitely will watch it.
Yeah.
Not that I'm going to be sitting there like every second of the night tonight, but
have it on.
I'm going to have it on for sure. Hey, go in the kitchen, re-ups from some dinner from the wife. Okay, I knew you wanted to hear that.
I appreciate that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, but I love the schedule. I really do. Hey, I don't make as a big a deal about it as we've talked about before with like all 16 games. Like, I love when people are like, it's December 12th and this team, like you don't know who's going to be healthy or what's going to go on at that point. But I am big into those first 4 or 5 weeks. I know we've hit on that a lot. That to me, you can have a certain feel for those matchups and how a team can maybe start off and get going and things like that.
For sure.
And that's what I'm really going to be, glued to.
We do know week 1.
Yeah.
We know the first game,
How
Thursday
about
night, NBC. Buccaneers, that was obvious. They were going to host. And Peter King pointed out he thought it would either be the Bills or the Cowboys. It is the Cowboys.
Yep.
What do you think of that choice?
I'm not shocked.
It's an obvious one for ratings, right?
Yes, exactly right.
It'll be a giant number.
It's going to be a giant number. It's the Cowboys. It's Dak Prescott. You're almost guaranteed of getting, and I think it'll be Dak Prescott. All signs point towards that.
Right.
You're guaranteed to get offensive explosion out of Dallas. So that's going to always lead to an exciting watch with big plays and things like that. And then, of course, we know Tampa Bay and Brady. And, man, those fans, Florida, the pandemic stopped there a year ago, so they're going to be full-fledged at that stadium.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to be cool to see. The Bucs fans are amazing. They're way better than people want to give them credit for. And the fact that they didn't get to pile in there last year and see Brady and that Super Bowl team, that place is going to be shaking on a Thursday night to hang that banner and Brady running out of the tunnel and all that. It is.
Yeah.
It's giving me chills just talking about it.
Okay, then on Sunday, and I'm sure we have some matchups we're both excited about. I'm going to start out with this little NFC West, AFC South thing that's happening week 1. Seahawks at Colts.
I think
Great
one of
game.
the 1 o'clock great games,
It's awesome.
right? Yes.
How about Cardinals at the Titans?
Bam. I'm with you there too. There's no doubt. There's a few interesting things there. First off, the Cardinals, Kyler Murray, the Titans, revamped secondary, Bud Dupree off the edge. I think that's a sneaky, real good one. I think, the first one you brought up to me is one of the crown jewels of the day. That was the Seahawks Colts,
Yeah.
right? I'm really excited about it. Those are 2 legit playoff teams that I think the Colts are in the Super Bowl window. I think the Seahawks are in a playoff window. I'm not ready to say Super Bowl. But either way, that's going to be good. The other 1 p.m. game that jumps out to me is Bills-Steelers.
Yeah.
I love that. To me, those are the 2 games I look at are Colts-Seahawks at 1 p.m., Bills-Steelers at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this as a quarterback, because I kind of was talking about this with Florio, right? So both of those teams are probably, the Steelers and the Bills are both probably day. Them week 1.
Have to play them.
Right.
Yeah.
The Steelers defense is damn, we got to worry about Josh Allen and all that. Not that they're scared, but they know that's going to be a tough task.
Right.
But also the flip side of this is, and I know I put myself in these shoes, I had to play the Ravens week 1 one year. That sucked. Because you go
Who
from
was on that team then?
Ray,
Oh, yeah.
Ed Reed, Chris McAllister.
Stuff
It was
there,
the year
yeah.
Steve McNair was the starting quarterback,
Okay.
2006, right?
Yeah.
And, where I look at it to where Josh Allen and the Bills might be the Steelers, because you know how preseason and training camp is. It's very vanilla, and you go to even the preseason games, it's cover 1, it's cover 3, and then all of a sudden you get into a week 1 against a Pittsburgh team, and you're I don't know what coverage this is,
Right.
or what blitz this is, and I haven't had many reps against this crap all training camp. And that, to me, is a disadvantage for an offense when you haven't gone against that. So those are just some the mental gymnastics of who do you think's got it worse? The Steelers getting ready for Josh Allen, or the Josh Allen having to worry about all these different blitzes and zone blitzes and everything like that? I don't know.
I think the Steelers' defense has the bigger worry, but I could say the same thing about Josh Allen because that defense that was really good last year gets Bush back at linebacker, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
I know they lost Bud Dupree.
But it's not going to be a big drop, right? They're
I
going to be
think the
fine.
one who's up most at night now thinking about that with the oh shit week 1 thing is
Josh Allen and Dayball. Yeah, you're right. It's a lot of work. And that's the kind of thing, too. It's how do teams approach the first game of the year? I've been on different ways of how you can approach it. Gruden, we used to go all in on week 1. All in. He's game planning today. Watching film, and we're going to slowly through OTAs be putting stuff in that we don't even realize that's for beating week 1. And even picking some blitz up and things like that. Then I had some other coaches, like a Jeff Fisher, the Titans and all that, where you might have worked a little aspect of all three of the first games, a little like this team plays a lot of this coverage, so 7-on-7, we're going to get a lot of reps against that. And, this team plays this defensive front, so when we get in a run period, we're going to see a lot of that.
What was Belichick like for week one this time of year?
Non-existent from my experience, even with Josh McDaniels when I was with him in Denver. I think we did a little game planning and training camp, of course, but my just to remember Bill and my 2 off seasons there, they're focused on New England. That's all they care about. Here's our first 15 plays. We're going to get good on offense. As I've told you before, defense. It's like we're going to run cover 2 today until we're perfected it, and then we'll move on to cover 3. That's just the way they are. They're not going to what do they say? Put the egg in front of the cart or the horse in front of the carriage or whatever it is, right?
Cart. Yeah,
exactly.
Could be an egg.
They're not going to do that,
right.
And that's what makes New England great, in my opinion, is they never get externally motivated.
Right.
Yeah.
Thinking about New England week 1, Dolphins at the Patriots week 1.
Awesome matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, legit AFC playoff, AFC East championship contenders.
What should the spread be?
It's in. Where is it at?
It's in New England.
It's in New England.
Yeah. I've got a number in mind.
I'm gonna go the Pats by 3.5. You're thinking 3?
That was on my mind.
Yeah.
With the hook, with the 3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I got to think with what they've done.
Yep.
The Patriots still, when you break
Both
them
sides of
down
the
last
ball,
year,
yeah.
there was a lot of good things they did still. It's Tua. Now it's his show.
Yep.
So I'm not like they're going to be a points machine quite yet there in Miami. But that's going to be unbelievable, let alone I think it's going to be, we're going to talk defense today. I think it's going to be 2 of the top defenses in football facing off against each other.
Pete just said Pats -2. Is that what you're seeing?
Is that
Pete?
what you're seeing early?
Seeing right away.
All right.
Interesting little nerdy nugget about the Dolphins.
Yeah.
We all talk about Tua and what they did in the draft. There's a chance, it looks like over half of their offensive starters from the last 2 drafts. 6 out of the 11, 4 on the offensive line. Jalen Waddle, probably.
Right. Definitely.
Probably Tua.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting stat.
Happens in a hurry.
That does happen in a hurry. And I mean, man, they got a lot to play with on that offensive line.
Yeah.
They do, and some studs. I mean, they really do. They've done as good as a job of rebuilding, building, whatever the hell you want to call it, as I can remember here in recent history. The Dolphins killed it. Flores, Greer, 2 off seasons in a row. You could tell there's a real approach to what they see and vision in building the football team. I'm excited about them. The other 1 o'clock game, just for themes,
I know where you're going.
is the Sam Darnold Bowl.
Yeah.
That's a cool one. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Sam Darnold down in Carolina, an offense that fits him, weapons galore. And now it's the new savior in New York having to come down there with a new coaching staff and all of that. I mean, that'll just be a fun little theme to talk about as we go into week 1.
Pete just mentioned this. Who needs it more, Darnold or Jets fans?
I think at this point, Darnold needs it more.
Yeah.
The Jets, I don't think you can expect, it's a whole new everything. So
anything they do well is kind of a bonus.
Right.
I mean, Darnold's going to have a lot of eyeballs on
Darnold's
him.
definitely going to have eyeballs. People recognize there's talent on the team. It's the second year with the coaching staff. They're going to expect better results from the team altogether. We're going to be watching Darnold because it's like, okay, wait, no, there is people around you now.
Yeah.
You had that excuse with the Jets, so you don't have it now. I think it would be very important. I think it would be more important for him than the Jets. Because if he loses and plays bad in week 1 and all of that, oh, man, the narrative will be set.
Of course.
He's going to have to really have to fight hard after that to correct it. Because everybody's, yeah, the Carolina Panthers stupid, should have drafted a quarterback at pick number 8, shouldn't have traded for Sam Darnold, all of those type of things. So I think the pressure will be on him.
Browns Chiefs, late kick.
Oh.
Awfully good.
That's the 425.
Yeah.
Good. I was going to say, did I miss that at the 1 o'clock games? What? Definitely.
Yeah. That's the other late kick, along with the Dolphins Patriots on CBS. You've got the Browns.
You got
and
425 games, right? Which,
yeah.
To me, again, that's too many games on Sunday. If I can complain about one thing.
Yeah, usually with that 425, they have one showcased game, and then they've got some
2
point-to-point
or 3,
games
4
at
or 5 games, right?
that are decent but aren't rivaling the 425. I mean, what's the better game, Browns Chiefs or Patriots Dolphins?
I'm I don't know. I mean, I guess Browns Chiefs because it's Mahomes and Baker. But you're right. It's not that much.
Yeah.
Not by much.
Not a slam dunk.
No. And then you got the 425 on the other network on
What
Fox.
are they doing 425? They have Green Bay, New Orleans.
Right. So Aaron Rodgers maybe versus Taysom Hill.
Broncos, Giants.
Aaron Rodgers maybe versus Daniel Jones. That's what they did.
Right.
They covered their ass
they did.
for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
They don't know. They know. And I think, and listen, everybody in football right now goes, if he gets traded, it's going to the Denver Broncos. They're in their leader house. They are in the leader house. Yes, we got it in. But yeah, 4 games at 425. I think about it from a personal aspect too, to go like, man, our Sunday night football show, we're going to have games bleeding into that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing a show, not paying attention to Tirico, trying to watch the end of the games and everything like
You're
that.
You're going to have
the
4
worst.
awesome games going on, trying to get made up,
right.
trying to get dressed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Trying to think about Rams-Bears, which we have later that night on Sunday Night Football, which is going to be awesome.
I'll text you at like 6:15 and ask you what you're doing.
Yeah, good. Thanks.
How's it
I'll
going,
need
man?
that. Yeah, great.
How's your tie look today? How's your shirt and tie?
All right, so what's your one game of the weekend? All right? And we'll take NBC games off.
Okay.
All right, so we don't have to talk about that. We know that's our game.
What are the rules here? Like one game, if I can only watch one game?
You can only watch one. I want the Paul Burmeister special right here.
One game. Let's start with a tie, and then I'm gonna go down to one. I'm gonna have a tie with the Seahawks and the Colts.
Okay.
And the Dolphins and the Patriots. I'm very anxious to see what the Patriots come back with.
Yep.
After last year. Want to see if it's Cam or Mac right away.
Yeah.
And a lot of focus on the Dolphins. A whole lot of focus on the Dolphins for good reason. And it's intra-division.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these great matchups right away are AFC against NFC or just inter-conference. But all AFC East there, if I can only watch one, I'm settling in to watch Dolphins-Pats. You?
It's up there for me. I'm trying to think actually just to be different from you a little bit because I'm with you. First off, listen, I like that style of football. I love how Flores and Belichick manage football games, everything about it. There's just more to it into their approach of how they play. Yeah, there's one team that's on the rise, up and coming. Another team that's been up there forever and had one little down year, but had some unreal offseason, and the Cam Newton questions and the Tua questions, and there is so many damn good storylines there. So I think if I was going to be different, all right, just to be different, because I am really pumped about that game. I think Bills Steelers would be my next one where I'd go to. I think I'm intrigued to see what Pittsburgh's approach is going to be on offense. You know, listen, of course I want to see Allen versus that Steelers defense. That's going to be awesome. But I want to see what this new look is going to be for the Steelers and how they're going to play. So I think that's also kind of fascinating to me too. But yeah, good week 1 schedule. I'm excited for it. I just want to know, are we going to be in Tampa? Are we going to get on a flight and then have to go out to L.A. and do Bears-Rams too?
That's right, because it's Bears-Rams tonight.
Yeah, so that's going to be a fun one too, especially if Justin Fields can be the starter.
Right.
And we got Stafford as a new starter and Justin Fields as a new starter.
Yeah.
That could lead to some good storylines.
The more I think about that one, why wouldn't they go Justin Fields week 1? And I bet you'll be in Tampa and then back here.
I would think so.
Back here on Sunday.
Right.
All right, there's a week 1 schedule. We'll all look forward to watching the entire schedule release tonight, or at least have it on throughout the house while you're doing other things.
Yep.
Year in preview. Is this year in preview or year in review with the defense, Chris?
Well, it's a year in review, but a little bit of a preview to go along with it. Because I am going to talk about some teams that I think to watch out for this year, teams that have improved certain units, you know, who can make the biggest leap. So it's a little bit of both here. I think that's what's cool about the exercise, you know, Pete came up with here.
So we are looking at I would imagine we have a screen here, Pete, to show we're starting with pass defense. We don't have it, so I'll just let you know, last year, pass defense, the best team was the Rams, followed by the Washington football team. Steelers were 3rd, Niners were 4th, and the Saints were 5th. Let's begin the bidding here, Chris, with pass defense. Best bet to be number 1 in 2021.
There's some good ones right there, right? I mean, I think if you're going to give me best bet, all right, out of the top 5, because I think there's some teams not in the top 5 who could also be number 1, all right? And I'll get to that in a second. But for the sake of the teams that are there in the top 5, I'm going to go with the football team to be the Washington football team.
All right.
I am.
What's the biggest reason?
Well, listen, the pass rush is special. We know that. Yes. But, also, let's remember, they've improved their linebacker in pass coverage with, Davis from Kentucky, who's going to be great in pass coverage. That I don't doubt. His speed, his length, everything like that. Landon Collins got hurt last year. He's back, and he'll be ready to go. And then, to sign a William Jackson at corner to improve the secondary that way too, which was a secondary and a bunch of corners that, good, not great. I think he makes them real good now. So if you're going to give me one team, I'm going to go with Washington because, again, I think they're going to be able to consistently get there with the front four, not have to blitz a lot, and that allows them, some wiggle room in the back end as far as coverage is concerned.
I had you penciled in for the Steelers to go from 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I thought about it. I think the one thing I just thought about a little bit was the no Bud Dupree, right? And Steelers secondary has been better, but I always worry about them to a degree. And maybe I'm a little off that way, but I don't know if they have those marquee man-to-man guys a little bit that you need to be the number one pass defense. So I guess that's why I kind of shied away from them a little bit.
How about a team in the top 5 pass defense? Again, it's Rams, Washington, Steelers, Niners, Saints. Most likely to fall out of the top 5.
The Saints are the ones I look at. With the people they lost in the secondary.
And that was?
Janoris Jenkins gone.
Yeah.
Hold on. They franchised Marcus Williams. There's another corner I'm missing here. It's going to drive me crazy. Hold on a second here.
It's a Janoris Jenkins.
Janoris Jenkins, which is a big one.
And he went to
the Tennessee Titans, who we're going to talk about here in a second, because they're the team that I would look at. Wait, there's somebody else I'm missing, though, that's driving me crazy here. I got to pull up their team here to refresh my memory.
And they made a really big jump. They were 20th 2 years ago to get up to 5.
Yes.
In pass D. While you're looking, I should point out that I think pass defense likely it's the least most important of all the barometers of defense because you can get way up on a team and control a game and give up a lot of passing yards.
Sure.
So I think of all the stats we're going to look at, this is the least relevant. But go ahead.
Yes, but wait, no, it's still killing me here. I'm looking at the roster and I can't think of who the hell I'm missing that they also missed from their. Oh, no, it wasn't him. There's another corner there that they lost in free agency, isn't there? God damn, I can't remember who the hell it was. Hold on a second.
They went corner round 1, didn't they?
No, they
Georgia?
They did not. That was the Green Bay. They went corner in round 3 with Paulson Adebo, who I really like out of Stanford a lot. They went pass rusher in round 1 with the kid from Houston, which is a little bit of a reach in my opinion. But I'm missing somebody they missed in, there. But either way, listen, I'm still going to go with them just off the Janoris Jenkins fact.
Okay.
All right? They're an aggressive man-to-man football team, and he was their best cover corner last year. He was. Lattimore, they drafted him. He's in the prime of his career. He came on better at the end of the year. But that's what I would worry about a little bit with the Saints, at least, when it comes into that conversation. It's actually going to drive me insane here until I find out who I'm missing in my thought as far as the corner that I'm missing in this conversation here.
My guess for you was with the Rams because they lost Johnson at safety. Maybe they would drop down a little bit. I know they still have Ramsey and Darnold.
Yeah, no, but I think I might be wrong. I might just be thinking Jenkins altogether.
Okay.
Yep, so my doesn't hold as much water with just the one guy gone, but I still think it's a big guy. I'm still going to go with them. I am. I think I look at them. The 49ers are another team that I'd probably have looked at to go, maybe they could fall out. 49ers changed their approach a little bit on the defensive side of the ball last year. I'm interested to see what they do. And just why I hit on that point, like you might go, why or what was it? Well, Saleh, the Seattle scheme, everything like that. The 49ers, if you really pay attention to them quietly, became like a cover 4 team last year. And now DeMeco Ryans is the defensive coordinator. I don't know what they're exactly going to be. So I guess that's where I question that a little bit. With Nick Bosa, coming off the ACL injury, who's going to be the other guy off the edge that really can get after the quarterback? They lost to Kerry Hyder, who was kind of good, disruptive type of guy. So they would be the other team I would think about dropping out of that top 5.
And how about a team that was not in the top 5 last year you think is going to jump in Patriots come to mind. They were in the top 10. They've lived in the top 5 in this category.
How can you not think of them?
With all the changes they made.
I mean, 2 years ago, it was the best pass defense in football.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's all the changes they made. Like, I think that's the first thing to talk about. They still played really good last year with their defense being put in a lot of tough spots constantly.
Yeah.
And then let's not forget the fact that, oh, that's right. Stephon Gilmore, how many games did he miss last year? 5, 6? So, I don't expect that to happen again. And they have some younger players who I think are going to be a little bit better, like the Kyler Duggar and all of those type of things. Let alone the biggest thing is, and this is why really, they got a pass rusher in Judon, and they're not going to have to worry about trying to find 9 million ways to load the box with secondary people because they don't have big people.
Right.
They address that. They signed Devon Godshaw from Miami, big in the middle of the defense, not going to be able to move him. Drafted Christian Barmore in the second round at Alabama, big not going to be able to move him. And then they re-signed the only big they had left on the team, which was Lawrence Guy, to where I go, good luck moving that crew.
Right.
So now Belichick has the opportunity to go, wait, I can play really big and put 4 big D linemen up front and play man-to-man and double this guy and have this guy drop into a zone and do all these type of things to where that they are, to me, the team I look at for sure that's going to leap into the top 5. And I almost put them as the best bet to be number 1, even though they weren't in the top 5. The other teams I'll just mention to throw out there. The Broncos would be a team, I'd say, could maybe leap into the top 5 as far as pass yards are allowed. Okay, because Von Miller back healthy. They signed Fuller from the Bears once they lost him. They just drafted Patrick Surtain. Yeah. So I look at that and go, and it's Vic Fangio. I go, damn. And again, they weren't bad last year anyways. So that's a team I look at that could make a big leap. We know the Ravens. They were just on the outside looking in at number 6. So they could be certainly a team that could get to the top 5 or somewhere in there. And here's one just real dark horse that I'll throw in there. The Cardinals, a little.
Based off what?
Just off of improve the secondary and getting a Malcolm Butler. The, Marcus Golden at pass rusher, J.J. Watt makes them a little better up front. But then even the 2 middle linebackers they got in the middle with Isaiah Simmons. Sorry, I was going to say Isaiah Thomas. And now Zaven Collins.
Yeah.
I mean, big, long, athletic guys there. That's where I look at that and just go, no, I think there's some stuff to like about what they did this offseason. And he's a good defensive coordinator, Vance Joseph. He does a lot of creative stuff up front to give you crazy looks, and this guy drops in, drops out, and everything like that. And there's another corner I'm also missing with them that they added, and I'm going to find it because it's just absolutely I'm not on my game here. Oh, they just re-signed Robert Alford. That's it. All right, so nothing big there.
Okay.
Right. But they got the Malcolm Butler.
One more spot to hit with the pass defense, thinking about next year and tying in last year. Let's go to the bottom, 28 through 32, teams that really stunk in this category a year ago. Jets at 28, then the Titans, Lions, Seahawks, the Falcons dead last. Which one of those teams do you think is set up to make the biggest jump this year?
I think, I expect the Jets to make a jump, definitely. I mean, with Mosley and Gerard Davis at middle linebacker and getting Shaq Lawson in free agency as a pass rusher, improving their D-line, with guys like Sheldon Rankins. I look at them to be a team to go, it's going to be a marked improvement on that side of it. Robert Saleh, that scheme, I think that all of it's worth them jumping up 5-10 spots as far as pass yards. But the team I'm really going to go with is the Tennessee Titans.
Got to be.
Yeah. I mean, one, you get a Jadeveon Clowney to add to the pass rush, right? But the biggest thing is, they did Janoris Jenkins, who we talked about when I was brain farting over the Saints whole thing. Kevin Johnson.
Clowney's not with the Titans.
I'm Bud Dupree. Excuse me. I'm thinking of, Bud Dupree off the edge. Yep. But so now you got Janoris Jenkins at corner, Kevin Johnson, who has some man-to-man cover skills, and then, of course, Caleb Farley in the first round. I mean, to me, that was a huge improvement for what they had last year as compared to this year. So I think they're a team to look at for the biggest leap.
My eyes go to the Seahawks at 31. You think about them being better defensively, but they were 27th the year before. Can they be as bad as they were a year ago?
They're funny because they're one of those teams where.
Think about some of those games we watched last year. I mean, it was just.
I don't expect it to be this bad. I definitely don't. So, like, this is one of those things where we're going to talk about rush yards allowed in a minute.
Yep.
They were the number 5 rush defense in football.
Yeah.
But that's one of those where you go, they weren't really. They were number 5 because everyone went, why would we run the ball? We can throw for 20 yards every play against them.
Right.
I mean, they really didn't get the run defense even remotely fixed their pass defense until late in the year, where they got it going a little bit and everything like that. So I do expect a leap as far as, like, that's concerned, because I got to think they're going to, we got to make some tweaks to the pass game and do some things there to help that out. So I'm with you there. They're a team that I thought of as well. But them and the Falcons have the same story that we're going to talk about here in a second.
Let's jump into what I think is a more important category defensively, rushing yards allowed a game. Top of the league last year, Buccaneers at 1, Colts 2, Rams 3, Saints 4, Seahawks 5. What's your pick to be the best this season?
I think the number 1 is still the Bucs.
I need an argument why they wouldn't be. You've got one.
I don't have anything for you. I don't. There's nothing that I can, like.
They found a way to bring everybody back, right?
Yeah. There's no team that I can look at that I can sit here and seriously say they're going to challenge them for sure. I mean, I know I talked about the Patriots and all of that, but I can't really make that assessment right now totally there.
Think about how good they were last year. All those guys are back, plus Vita Vea
missed the whole year. That was the biggest reason. That's what makes it a slam dunk number 1.
Yeah.
You go, damn, even if they didn't have Vita Vea, they were the best run defense in football. Now I'm expecting them to be healthy this year. And he's a big-time disruptive defensive tackle. So, yes, hands down, not even close.
That's almost a rhetorical question.
It is
how they
a little
played
bit.
last year, what they have coming back.
Right.
Who do you think is closest to them?
As far as that great run D, I do think the Saints are always right there closest in that conversation.
They've been top 5 at least the last 2 years.
Yeah, they're just so big, and they're like the Bucs, a little bit like we talked about the great pass teams. The Saints and the Bucs have the ability to go, we don't need to put the extra guy in the box. Our front seven's so good and big that we think you can handle it. They can handle it themselves. And that's the Saints do have that luxury. I mean, they're got phenomenal size at all 4 positions on the defensive line, no matter if it's the first group or the second group. So I think that's probably the team I look at, the most to be the closest there in that category.
Let's take the Buccaneers and the Saints then out of this next part of the question. Which of the top 5 teams from last year, so now it's Colts, Rams, Seahawks, do you think may fall out of that top 5?
The big, I think about the Rams a little because you lose Michael Brockers, so there's some questions there. But I think I'm still going to go back to the Seahawks. I am. Just because I expect, like I said, I don't know if they weren't really a top 5 defense. I expect them to correct their pass game woes to the fact to where teams start to go, hey, we'll run the ball on them a little bit more, be more balanced, because it's not an easy 10-yard completion the way it was. I mean, I just want to, the first 8 weeks of the year last year, Seahawks were on a record pace for yards allowed and passing yards allowed in an NFL season. And I think I brought this up last week. I mean, remember, we had the game, and I think you were referring to it a few minutes ago. They played the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll, after the game, was like, they didn't even try to run it. I've never been a part of anything like that.
He expected them to.
We expect them to run it a little more.
He also went on to say, I'm paraphrasing here, but I didn't even recognize what we were doing out there.
Right.
Remember that?
Because I think he's like, the teams are just drop back every time.
Yeah.
We have no fear of you.
They
hell
kept
with
the
it.
coordinator. They kept Ken Norton.
I know.
Yeah.
I know they did. Well, I think they showed enough improvement, and really towards the last 5 or 6 weeks, if I remember correctly, we're one of the 5 best defenses in
better.
football.
You're right.
They did. So they did some things I think that, warranted keeping him. They did a pretty good job in free agency, but I'm saying they fall out of the top 5 rushing defense just because teams aren't just going to be so happy to gung-ho and throw the ball on them. So that was really my logic more than anything there.
Bringing us to the team that will jump into the top 5 rush defense. I'm going to narrow this down. You can keep it there or punt this one out, but my mind went to the AFC North when looking at it. Baltimore was at 6 last year. Cleveland was at 9. Pittsburgh at 13. You want to pick any one of those 3?
Baltimore I always look at. I mean, yes, as far as like rush defense goes, the size they have always. Calais Campbell was hurt a little. Patrick Queen last year, hey, he at times was like a chicken with his head cut off. I think that's going to be better. So I think from all those, yes, like they are a team that definitely jumps out to me. The Browns are another team, I'll say, that jumps out to me.
Yeah.
Whether it's signing a Malik Jackson, but got other guys up front like Larry Ogunjobi and things like that, along with Owusu Koramoah. Yep. And even new safeties that they're going to be in the box as well. To me, and Anthony Walker from the Colts to play middle linebacker, I just think they're better suited to play their scheme and system and everything like that this year, to where I think they're a team, yes, that can be in that conversation. And then I got two others that jump out to me. The Bears, all right? And I know the Bears last year were 15th, but the one reason I'll throw them in there is just because Eddie Goldman's back. Eddie Goldman opted out last year. Eddie Goldman is the best nose tackle in football. That's going to make them a different team. Now they don't have to put Akeem Hicks there. They can move him out to the traditional D tackle spot, and it's going to make them a better football team. So that'd be one that really jumps out to me. And then the other ones, two teams we already talked about. The Pats and Dolphins. The Pats we just talked about the big people they have.
We didn't talk about Van Noy coming back as well.
Van Noy being back. Dante Hightower being
still
back,
there.
Who's as good a run-stopping linebacker as you're going to find, okay? And then we talked about the improvements of the D tackles and all that. The Dolphins, I'll sit here and say the same thing. They got Christian Wilkins, first-round pick. Mm-hmm. They have Raekwon Davis, who was a second-round pick last year, who watch out for him this year. They traded for Bernard McKinley, who's there, Dante Hightower. He's a thumper middle linebacker. So I look at the Dolphins, just like the Pats, to go, watch out. I mean, to me, when I just sit here and think about it, the more and more, I just go, man, the Pats and Dolphins defense, I'll be shocked if they're not top 5 almost in every category.
Another reason to watch if you only had one game to
Week
watch.
Week 1 p.m. games.
Week 1 in Foxborough. Let's go to the bottom part of this stat. Lions at 28, rush defense. Bengals 29, Jaguars 30, Cowboys 31, Texans 32. They all struggled mightily last year. Which one is ready to jump it up?
The two that jump out more, like I'm not going to jump in and say I expect the Cowboys to be better. Of course, I do. Now, I still don't know if they have the actual guys to be there and just absolutely stop the run that way. The Texans are horrible. I expect them to continue to be horrible. Jacksonville, I can't say it with them. There's just not enough proven commodities there. To me, I do look at it as being the Lions or the Bengals. I guess the big thing I'll talk about with the Bengals, hey, drafted Tyler Shelvin as far as a run-stopping a defensive tackle, and I got to pull up their roster here just so I got everybody in front of me. I love that aspect of it.
They used 3 defensive line picks in rounds 3 and 4, so they clearly tried to fortify that.
I mean, they got Andrew Billings, right? They got Ogunjobi. The Browns got Billings. I'm getting all these guys mixed up. DJ Reader, okay, he's going to be there. Mike Daniels to round out the group. All right, so I just look at them to be a team where, hey, you're 2 in that system. Ogunjobi with Reader, it's a pretty damn group altogether. They also got Trey Hendrickson on the end of the line of scrimmage. I think that can help them out too. So they're one of those teams, and I think I'm missing somebody else, but I think I'm good here. And then, the Lions, the attitude in which they play, I think that's the first thing I would talk about, right? And then, they have 2 out of their top 4 picks in the draft are beasts in the middle, with Aleem McNeil from North Carolina State, who I love, and then my favorite defensive tackle in the draft, and Levi Onwuzurike. So I just look at that to go, okay, that's enough there to make me think a little bit differently about their football team altogether.
All right, from pass defense to run defense, now to the most important category, points allowed, otherwise known as scoring defense. Last year,
and the Lions got Michael Brockers.
They did. There we go.
Right.
Yeah. Scoring defense last year, Rams were 1, Ravens 2, Steelers 3, Washington 4, Dolphins at 5. who do you think is going to top this category this season?
Damn. I know, Matt, I've missed a little slight details about some of these covers. I'm still pissed off about the Saints and not knowing that other corner, and the fact that I just mixed up Billings and Ogunjobi, and I knew I was missing another player with Brockers. That's pissing me off, and that's why I should have wrote it down. That's why I have a notebook. It pisses me off thinking I can do that on the top of my head. All right.
Understood.
Points allowed. I don't think it'll be the Rams again. I don't. One, it's a new system with Raheem Morris, everything like that. And listen, I don't think the Seattle scheme, again, which is a little bit what they run, is ever going to be really conducive to stop top-scoring defense.
Why is that?
Type of thing. I don't. Because it's just too predictable. Teams kind of know how to bend it, maybe not break it, but they know how to continue to bend it to just get enough points to where, there's the teams you see at the top with point scoring are teams that are creative and game plan specific. And, you thought we'd do this on third down? Well, this week we're doing this, and we're doubling this guy and rolling coverage over there. Like the Patriots we've seen with years past be that. That's the teams that usually are like the number one scoring defense. The Ravens, that kind of type of thing, right? It's outside the box. Like the year before, it was the Steelers, it was the Bears, it was the Ravens, it was the Bills, it was the Patriots. All like malleable schemes that can change on a week-to-week basis. So I don't think that, I don't look at the Rams as being that, let alone they lost the Brockers and everything like that. So without all that talking and everything I go, best bet to be number one is the New England Patriots. The Patriots were seventh, really sixth, because there was a tie at 5.
And they were first the year before.
First the year before by a big margin, like 3 or 4 points. So, yes, with that secondary, those coaches, the improved players, if you make me pick who's the best bet to number one, I'm going with the Patriots or the Dolphins. I'll go either one. It's the same thing. Phenomenal secondaries, and then really versatile up front against anything, any type of attack. So I just look at that, and then coaches that think outside the box and do different shit to where, I'm going with one of those two teams.
What's crazy about putting those two teams together, and this is not that they're playing in week one, but as we talked about, no surprise the Patriots, the team you feel is going to jump up there. 2 years ago, number one.
Right.
It's not like they were bad last year. Miami, you mentioned them as well. The year that the Pats were number one, 2019, you know what they were? Scoring defense, maybe the most important category in the league. They were dead last.
Were they really?
They were dead last in 2019, all the way up to 5 last year.
That just shows an improvement in the roster. And then, to me, more than anything, Flores found his, niche for how he wanted to attack defenses. But I think most importantly, the biggest reason for the jump is Byron Jones drafting a first-round corner and doing all those type of things has allowed him to play the coverages he wanted last year and do all of that.
You think he was hamstrung in
yes,
first
the year
season?
before, definitely.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. I think he had to probably play some defenses and do some things he did not necessarily like, let alone maybe not have the guys up front that you feel like can do all, like year one, all the intricate things I did with the Patriots and the checks and all of that type of stuff. So I think when you kind of add all that together, that's why it comes to the big leap.
Remember that game last year, thinking about the big leap that they made from 19 to 20? We kind of knew the Rams offense was slipping a little bit. I think we knew the next week we were going to focus on the Dolphins against the Rams.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even fair. They just destroyed the Rams offense. Remember that?
He exposed them. He exposed their pass protection.
Yeah.
Remember we did the whole breakdown.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on it.
That's what I mean. That's where he's an outside-the-box special thinker. Yeah. And then throughout the rest of the year, he used that game to his advantage. Oh, here's that same look from the Rams. Everybody's like, we got to block it up, and they drop out.
Yeah.
Or they would drop 4 from this side and send 3 from the other side. And he made it kind of like a jump-off point to like, this is kind of what we do. The only team that really ever scared him out of it were the Chiefs and the Bills, because those two guys are freaks of nature, right. Quarterbacks.
And they were in the game with the Chiefs.
They were.
Later that.
Yeah,
weren't they?
They were. They kind
late.
of lost control, and then they came back. Yes.
Yeah.
That was the game, Mahomes threw the 2 interceptions early on, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's all of those things. And, again, anything New England related, there's just so much thought and detail and things like that to where it's never going to just come together perfectly in year one. You know, it is going to take some time to figure out all the rules and things like that. And I think that's why, you know, things look so bright in Miami.
Any of these teams that were in the top 5 scoring defense last year, Rams, Ravens, Steelers, football team Dolphins, you think might fall back a bit this year?
The Rams are the team I go to that I think, and not that I expect like a huge drop or fall off, but, you know, again,
they've been in all these categories we've talked about.
Yes, they're good. I mean, I expect them to be right around the top 5, top 8. I don't want to say like a dramatic fall, but if you're going to make me pick one team to fall off, yeah, they lost John Johnson, who's a really damn good safety, and they lost Michael Brockers, who's a really good, defensive tackle, and they even lost, I want to say somebody else too. Didn't they lose the kid Fox, the other like defensive end? Even I think they did. I think he went to the Carolina Panthers. So I look at that, Samson Ekubom, and I don't think. See, Brandon Staley's defense to me is the Patriots or the Dolphins. It's like, hey, this is what they do, but they're going to do some things in this specific game that you're not going to be ready for, whether that's Jalen Ramsey's on the island and they're going to play some crazy zone coverage over here, or it's going to be all man-to-man and they're going to double these guys. Like, that's what Brandon Staley did, which was special that way. Again, I don't know if Raheem Morris, it's going to be disguises, but I think it's a little more predictable, which will lead to just a few more points and yards and things like that.
We just mentioned the Dolphins going from 32 2 years ago into the top 5. Do you have a team picked out that is ready to make maybe not that massive of a jump, but a team that wasn't in the top 5 scoring defense last year that's ready to be up that high?
Yeah, I mean, hey, the Bucs are right there on the edge. I think that's an obvious one I can just point to. The Giants would be a team that I'd tell everybody to watch out for. You
liked them last year too.
I did, yeah. And then last year they were 9th in football. They got a very good defensive line still. I know they lost Dalvin Tomlinson. They also got Danny Shelton, and size was not an issue anyways. So there's no issues with that. You're going to have a healthy Xavier McKinney. They got a Dory Jackson at corner. I just look at them, and that system again is that Patriot system where I think you'll see more unleashed, schematics from it this year in year 2 of it and everything like that. But to get Aaron Robinson, and at corner in the 3rd round, Azeez Ojulari, a real edge guy there, I just look at them to be the team to kind of pop on the scene here. And I don't think I missed anybody else on the defensive side of the ball that makes sense.
Let's look at the very bottom there. We've got 2 teams that averaged over 30 points per game giving up, Jaguars, Lions. Also have the Cowboys, Vikings, Raiders down there at the bottom as well. Surprised that the Vikings gave up almost 30 points per game.
It is.
Remember them being that poor
I don't either. You're right. I'm with you. I was a little surprised by that too.
And they were top 5 2 years ago.
I know. Hey, there's a lot of changeover on that defense of the Vikings. I think the Vikings and the Cowboys are the 2 teams I look at to go, I expect a huge leap. First off, we talked about the Cowboys got 2 starters with their first 2 picks, and Micah Parsons and Kelvin Joseph from Kentucky. And, Trayvon Diggs going to be in year 2. Signing a guy, the safety, Keanu O'Neal from Atlanta. And I do think Dan Quinn and just his scheme and everything there is going to be worth a huge improvement for their football team altogether. So I think the Cowboys make the biggest leap. But I think the Vikings are a team that we should all watch for.
Right.
It's Mike Zimmer. He's staying up at night in the off seasons with the fact that they were
that made him miserable.
Bottom. Right, exactly right. So I think between that and the big thing with the Vikings last year, they transitioned in the secondary, got rid of some guys that way, and then lost their other big-time pass rusher in Everson Griffin. And they can never really find, the ability to kind of replace that production he had. And Danielle Hunter was dealing with his injury in the neck and everything like that to where, it was a tough year. Anthony Barr got, banged up. Kendricks got banged up. It was just too many moving parts. So, they're a team I still expect to kind of have a big improvement this year.
Yeah, it'd be a shock if we're here next May talking about the Vikings being
bottom
29th
5, definitely.
Scoring defense.
Right.
Quarterback Jeopardy. It's been going for a little while. We had so much draft focus, spending so much time on that. We kind of took a break. So
I
here
know.
we are.
Good. I'm ready
QBJ.
for it. I need it. I need some just good old, let me think off the top of my head. I'm still, like I said, I'm still pissed off. I wasn't as detailed there as I would like.
Redemption here.
I'm sorry.
Redemption comes in the form of quarterback Jeopardy.
Saints corner thing really got me flustered and pissed off. I messed up there.
Move on. We are on to quarterback Jeopardy. So if you missed the first part of the show, this is Tim Tebow related. Tebowmania in the NFL really started 2011. Okay? So this is all 2011 NFL quarterback based.
It's all about just quarterbacks, okay? Because you're not going to go too far on the draft itself that year, are you? Maybe a little, but
one that's kind of draft-ish, but no, it's quarterbacks playing in the league in 2011.
Cool.
Okay?
Chris Sims' first year out of football,
I was just gonna ask,
2011.
so you were doing what during that season?
I was in Tennessee, staying in shape. Had some teams call, but
no pulling of the calf muscle on the treadmill.
I was an actual athlete then.
Yeah.
And I was, I think I've said this before, the first few Sundays crying on the couch because I couldn't believe I wasn't on a team.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. And that was where I started to lay the groundwork to try to get a job in New England. I had started to get whoa, I might not get to play again here.
Yeah.
And I started to send texts to Bill Belichick and people in New England just to, hey, keep me on your radar. I'd love to come work there and do all that type of stuff.
And you got there in the offseason?
I got there, the 2000, after they lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl, and I got there, a few weeks after that.
I think I saw you at the airport in Indy going to the Combine. I didn't know you were working. I'm like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah. Was I working for them yet? The year before, I went to the Combine just to meet coaches and specifically meet with New England. Because
I feel like you were with the Pats.
So it was that year. Yeah.
2012 maybe.
Cool. So 2011, Giants, Pats were the Super Bowl winners that year. The Super Bowl. Let's see. The Giants beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. The Patriots beat the Ravens, but the Ravens kicked that field goal, and they could have won the game.
Well done.
Right. So I just wanted to refresh myself there.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Okay. So for 100.
Yeah.
Certain quarterback that season who's still playing. Completed 68% of his passes, threw 45 touchdowns and only 6 picks. His team was 15-1.
One of the greatest years ever.
Incredible.
Greatest years ever.
Right?
Yes. I can remember in the scouting room, we were doing some sort of exercise where, John Robinson, the GM of the Titans, was kind of teaching us low-level scouts about, watching a game, and here's little things to look for when you're watching a player and all those type of things. And I can still remember us sitting there, and one of the first games they put on was Packers-Giants that year. And JPP was young, and he was taking over the league. And I just remember everybody in the room just like, oh, my God, because they didn't block JPP the whole game.
Yeah.
But if you look at the stat line and what happened, you'd think Rodgers was sitting back there baking cakes and just picking people apart.
Yeah.
It was just one unbelievable play after another.
Yeah.
I mean, his left tackle was Marshall Newhouse, who's been on every team in football since then.
Right.
But it was amazing. I just still remember that year. It was as good as it gets.
What were his numbers this year, Pete? Maybe you could look it up
48. There. It was 45-8. I think this year was 48-5.
Okay.
Yeah.
And his completion percentage this year,
I think, was a little higher.
Into the 60s. Was he was around 70, right?
I think he was
71%. So those kind of numbers, 10 seasons apart. That's incredible. I don't care what you say about how receivers are unimpeded. It's easier now. Those are phenomenal numbers 10 years apart.
Phenomenal.
All right, 200. October of 2011. Former first-round pick, former first overall pick, was traded from one AFC team to another. Name the quarterback and the teams. Hint, this has been mentioned a lot
Right.
recently.
Carson Palmer to the Raiders.
There you go.
Right. Sitting out football. Bengals drew a line in the sand.
Yeah.
Jason Campbell got hurt with the Raiders.
Yeah.
They needed a quarterback. Hugh Jackson was coaching, I believe, at USC when Carson Palmer was there.
Was he?
I want to say there was a connection a little bit between Hugh and Carson.
Yeah.
And then Carson went there and
I'd forgotten about that until it came up these last couple of weeks with the whole Aaron situation.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that happened.
And that was the only year, right? He went there, then he went to the Cardinals right after that, or did he go one more year with the Raiders? He did do one more year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then had some really good
it's funny,
seasons in
I don't
Arizona.
remember the details of all that stuff either.
300 points now. You're 2 for 2, by the way.
Yeah.
The Bengals and the Texans played in the wild card game early that January. Both started rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Can you give me their names?
Okay. So the Bengals had Andy Dalton.
There you go. Round 2. Kaepernick also went right after him, a couple of picks.
Man.
Played well in those playoffs, too. Now we're left to the Texans.
I know, and this is going to be an obscure somebody.
It is.
It is. It's.
He had a hell of a go for someone who wasn't crazy talented, played pretty well, kind of stuck around as a trusted backup for a while.
TJ Yates.
There you are.
Right.
Yeah, round 5.
Round 5. Yeah. I was like, man, I was thinking because I know Case Keenum was playing for the Texans a little during that time period too. I was like, man, was it Case Keenum in there for a little bit as that guy? But okay, good. TJ Yates, 3-0. 3-0, baby.
Yeah. I remember going, we were packed to the draft live from Carolina's Pro Day that year or the year before because he had so many damn guys that were rated high. And TJ was just kind of like an afterthought. And then came out and did very well.
TJ went to what, North Carolina? It was North Carolina?
North Carolina.
Yeah,
He was North Carolina, yeah.
Yep.
400. Ryan Fitzpatrick led the league in interceptions that year with 23 while starting all 16 games for what team? Thinking I'm going to filibuster and say point out because we like Fitzy.
Yeah.
He threw more touchdowns than INTs. He had 24 TDs, 23 picks, but tops in the league in INTs.
Yeah.
Slinging for who?
Hold on. I'm trying to play back history in my brain here because it's either the Titans or the Bills. I know that. And I'm going to go with the Titans.
Bills.
It was the Bills. Damn it.
Bills.
Damn it.
You were right there.
Damn it.
Once you narrowed it down, I thought with your time in Tennessee that I'm like, oh, he's got it. He's got it.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I can't believe I blew it on that.
That's understandable.
Damn.
I'm impressed you got it down to 2 because there's
Thanks.
19 teams it could have been.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yes. Well, it was good because I know he was with the Texans at one point, but it wasn't that year with that. So I knew that just from our previous question. But
he also started all 16 for the Jets one year.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
And they went 10-6 and just missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not down on you for that. That's a good miss.
It's kind of like a half,
good miss.
right? It's like I said the 2 teams.
You caught it well off the club.
Shit.
All right, 500. There was only one QB in the league that year who started more than half the team's games but did not complete more than half of his passes. Who is he? Started more than half of his team's games, did not complete more than half of his passes. Wow. The only one under 5-0.
Wow.
That started that many. He started 11 games.
Wow.
He started 11 games.
This is
Went 7-4.
Yeah.
Actually threw twice as many TDs as picks, but when it came to just completion percentage.
Okay. All right. Hold on. I'm pulling up teams just so you know. I'm on just the standings of 2011. Okay.
We're on the honor system.
That's all. Okay. Good. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
So man, 2011.
2011.
Those games less than 50%. All right. I feel like.
Before you go with the name, there's a reason. Like this all.
That there was a lack of completion percentage in that.
I mean, it all.
It was a history.
It all fits together pretty well.
I want to say Donovan McNabb with Washington.
With Washington, I was going to say because Kevin Cobb was starting. Kevin Cobb
in Philly
and Vic were starting in Philly.
Right. I was going to see, and I thought McNabb that first year it was underwhelming, and I do believe Rex Grossman gets to come in. So that's not it, obviously. Yeah. So don't tell me.
Yeah.
I got it wrong. I understand that.
No, you're just thinking out loud. That's all we're doing is thinking out loud.
But that was my guess. I was guessing McNabb. I'm not going to lie. So wait, hold on. This is going to drive me. Oh. Mother, how the did I forget that? It's Tim Tebow.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Oh.
Damn it. See, this is why I pull up the teams and I didn't thoroughly look at them.
Yeah.
If I just would have saw Denver a little earlier at 8-8.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. See, there's another thing too. 8-8, went to the playoffs. They beat the Steelers.
Yeah.
Steelers were the better team.
I know he threw that in route behind that kid. He caught it and ran
through the slant route. Ike Taylor played the wrong alignment. I've heard Mike Tomlin complain about it a number of times. And hey, the other thing too, like Pittsburgh, that was one of those years. Pittsburgh was really good and could have won the Super Bowl that year. People got to remember, Big Ben got really hurt late in the year with a bad high ankle sprain. He played that playoff game on one leg. That was the only reason Denver won that football game. And that's the other thing people don't realize. Context does better. That Denver team was good.
The Steelers were defending AFC champs that year.
Yeah.
They lost to
the
Aaron
Packers
Rodgers
in the Super Bowl,
before,
right. I mean, they were good. They were 12-4 this year. but they lost. But Baltimore was also 12-4, so they had the number 2 seed. But yeah, Pittsburgh was legit. But that Denver team, again, that's where you can't get too like, oh, we won, we lost, and this is what like you can't get obsessed with that, because Denver after that year went, wait, we were an 8-8, but that was not good. 8-8 was not good. Where our team was a 12-4, 13-3 type of team, but we had no quarterback.
Yeah.
And then they got Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
And they were the number 1 seed in the playoffs. So that's where that gets lost in translation too. Again, it's like a quarterback when we talk about, does he take advantage of all that's there to be had?
Right.
Sometimes you have the quarterback too that's like, no, the team's really good. Did he take advantage of all the wins they could have actually had there too?
Right.
One last crap session on Tebow there.
I've got one bonus question that I'm only bringing up because his name has already come up on the show.
Okay.
You have said his name, not me. Okay? There was a quarterback that year. This is crazy. He started for 2 different teams. He started for 2 different teams. You've said his name. We've talked extensively about one of those teams. Recently and extensively. Former teammate of yours, fellow Iowan, fellow native Iowan.
Orton?
Cal Orton.
You're right.
Because he was 2 teams.
He was what, the Broncos and the Cowboys?
Broncos and the Chiefs.
The Chiefs. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
In the same division.
That is crazy.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of what led to, like, did Matt Castle get hurt in Kansas City, or how that happened?
Yeah, 11. I know, you're right. I can't think of exactly the particulars there either, but yeah, so he was with Denver.
Yeah, started with Denver.
Started with Denver, and then Castle must have got hurt.
Got hurt, yeah. And then he went to Kansas City and started there.
And Denver knew that Orton wasn't the future, so they got rid of him.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Orton threw a pretty ball.
Didn't
Perfect spiral every throw.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorite teammates I ever had.
Had the Broncos at 6-0 a couple of years before.
I was there.
Beat the Patriots.
2010. I was there that year. Yep. Doing some good things, and yeah, I mean, Orton, not the greatest athlete in the world, but a pure thrower.
Threw the hell out of the ball.
Yes, he did.
Got time for a little Ask Me Anything?
Yeah, come on, let's
run through some questions. All right, this one has to do with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
At King Levi 07, where could you realistically see Kansas City's newly revamped O-line finish next year? If there was such a rankings, top 10, top 5?
Yeah, I mean, no doubt top 10. And really, like, again, I don't think it has to be they're not going to run the ball to where we're going to ever really look at them to go, oh, it's definitely a top 5 offensive line. I got to see that to believe it with Andy Reid, to really think like that's how it's going to go down. No, what they really need to be is a top 10 O-line, but really a top 5 pass protecting O-line. And that's where I really expect them to be, is a top 5 pass protecting O-line. I mean, again, the fact that they got Orlando Brown, and Tooney, the great center in the draft, and Creed Humphrey to go along with Austin Blythe and all that. Like, I legitimately think it'll be one of the better O-lines in football, but in the conversation for best pass protecting O-line in football.
To the Colts, at Nick Balfour says, if he could stay healthy, what could Paris Campbell, your number 2 wide receiver in 2019, be for the Colts offense and Carson Wentz?
I mean, Campbell is a special talent. He is, out of that group they got there, without a doubt, the most explosive, like, take the top off the defense type of guy on their roster. And I think he could be a huge, like, big play, big catch threat, that type of guy. I mean, really, I compared him really coming out a lot. He reminded me of Odell Beckham Jr. with the way he ran and played, and speed sweeps and slants, 70-yard to the house, and all of those type of things. So to me, he's like the missing part. If they could get him going, that nobody's thinking about, I mean, if they could get him going, and now you got that run game with that O-line, and T.Y. Hilton and Michael Pittman Jr. and everything going, and now a guy that you got to be scared of one-on-one, would be huge for their football team. I'm going to be interested to see where he is physically and if he still has that burst after 2 years of being hurt.
Fun one here that has to do with the NFC West from at Ernest Vasquez. Great question here. What's the best quarterback-coach combo in the NFC West? Stafford McVay, Wilson Carroll, Murray Kingsbury, or Lance Shanahan? He did not say Jimmy G. Shanahan.
I know. Well, yeah, it's like I'm of course biased towards Kyle, but I don't know who's going to be their quarterback yet. And right now, I can't go with like Lance Shanahan. I haven't seen that yet, and I don't think Lance, a Garoppolo Shanahan, I don't think is gonna cut it for me that way there. So when I think about like the West coach quarterback combo. Yeah, I think I got to go with McVay and Stafford.
All right.
I do. I need to see more out of something you've heard me say a lot, just a little more out of Cliff Kingsbury's offense first. And not that like McVay's is blown away, but McVay, of course, is a proven commodity. He has a real system that gives a lot of teams issues. And now he's got a quarterback who can do some things that, he's never had a quarterback that can do. And I think that's going to open them up a little bit more.
We're going to stay there and get with the Niners a little bit more here at Hernan Favela. Who do you think has the greatest chance to take the Niners to the Super Bowl this year, Jimmy G or Trey Lance?
I would go with Jimmy G.
This year? I mean, it'd be hard to argue against that.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I still would. I think that Shanahan, of course, is going to give people headaches with Trey Lance and his ability to run the football and all those type of things. I guess I just question whether, Trey Lance is going to be able to capitalize on some of the pass game stuff and things like that and be consistent enough to do it that way. We've seen Shanahan get there with Garoppolo. That's, to me, the scary thing about this whole thing. They start Garoppolo. Their team's pretty damn good, like we've talked about. He could be sitting here in December going, damn, they're 10-2.
Right.
Like they're going to make a switch next year with quarterback. I mean, that's where it's going to be interesting to see what Shanahan does in deciding all of this.
Or even if they're 7-5. Or 8-4, it's hard to imagine them, because at that point they're in the playoff race going to the rookie then.
Yes, I know. So that's going to be a big time decision for Shanahan and John Lynch to figure out that quarterback situation.
You talked a lot about how much you like the North Carolina Tar Heel offensive players coming out in the draft. You can only pick one of these groups now. It's titled UNC Weapons from Jerry Finsta. Which of the UNC guys ended up in the best spot for them? Javonte Williams, round 2 to Denver. De'Ami Brown, round 3 to the football team. Michael Carter, round 4 to the Jets.
It's one of the last two that I look at. It's De'Ami Brown or Michael Carter, right? I mean, and now you talk about, De'Ami Brown, he's got Curtis Samuel and McLaurin there. Mm-hmm. And, just back to that, like McLaurin, as fast as and explosive as he was, he was on that Ohio State team with Paris Campbell. They chose to give the ball to Paris Campbell. So that just tells you how explosive he was, right? Sorry, I just had that popped into my head. And that's the kind of player he could be, all right? So, but I think, both are actually really great fits. I mean, they really are. I guess I'm going to go with Michael Carter for right now. Just the fact of the Shanahan run scheme there, Jets improved O-line, and I just think he's the perfect fit for that. And it's a defensive coach who I think got a rookie quarterback. They're going to rely on giving that running back the ball and doing all that type of stuff. It's a tough one for me. I guess where I'm kind of putting a negative on just the Washington one is just the quarterback for the future. Yeah. As far as the fit there, what's that going to be? Who is that going to be? I'm excited about De'Ami Brown though with Terry McLaurin and our man Curtis Samuel.
It's a fun one to watch, especially. I mean, that defense is so good in Washington too. If the offense just comes up to the middle or decent,
exactly right.
Be a really fun one to watch.
Definitely.
Carolina on the mind. This one titled 2022 Draft at CFO Bain. I know you don't study any college players before the draft season, but based off your TV watching, do you have any thoughts on Sam Howell, North Carolina? Yeah. Spencer Rattler, Oklahoma? They seem to be consensus top 5 or top 10 already.
I know everybody's talking that way. Again, I don't know. I didn't feel that way watching the Oklahoma kid this year. Yeah. And I didn't see a lot of them. I saw, I think, a little bit of them against who did they play? Florida, maybe in the Sugar Bowl or one of those. I think I saw the Texas game where he didn't play great either. Howell, I watched a lot of them.
Because you were watching all those
I was watching those North Carolina kids, right? I liked him. I don't know if he... And I know you were impressed with him when you saw him in person. Yeah. And again, I'm not studying every throw. I like him. I think he's got some starting quarterback qualities, but I didn't look at him and go, oh, that's a definite top 5 pick for me. It didn't ring like that.
I think it's a hard eval because I heard you mention a couple of times, And it stands out to me because I think it really fits.
Yeah.
Talking about some of these quarterbacks and receivers coming from a really college-y kind of offense. And Sam Howell gets the ball in shotgun. He rides one of those 2 NFL draft picks, and he pulls out, throws a nice ball.
Yeah.
But you look at what's going to translate, what he's doing in Chapel Hill to the NFL. It's hard to get too much of a read.
It is. I mean, he's a good athlete, but not like a great athlete where you're just like, oh my gosh, he's going to be unbelievable that way. You know, he's a good thrower of the football, but I didn't sit there and go, oh wow, like, man, he can just throw lasers all over the field.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, I don't want to rush to judgment. I would have, again, before the last process, I would have been like, Trevor Lawrence is the #1 quarterback. That's easy. No doubt about it. And obviously, I was wrong with what I believed as far as my evaluation. So that's where I want to be careful, like judging too much.
Right.
I'm trying to think of some other guys that just jumped off to me in a major way. Of course, the pass rusher from Oregon. You know, like when I was watching Javon Holland, you see him, the kid number 5. I can't even think of his name. He certainly popped to where you just went, man, he looks the part and he's explosive, all of that. Our safety from Notre Dame, Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah.
I'd have a hard time thinking he's not a top 25 pick. I mean,
maybe
to be
top 10.
maybe higher,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, really, to be as long and as rangy as he is, he's a really good tackler. I mean, he can fly too. So those are ones that jump off to me.
USC quarterback Keaton Slovis.
Right.
We saw him in person.
Saw him in person 2 years ago.
A really nice ball.
He does throw a really nice ball. It's a perfect spiral every throw. I don't know if I look at it as a special arm, but definitely an NFL quarterback with NFL starting potential. So, yeah, he's another one. Like, I don't want to rush to judgment, but there's things I like for sure when I watch him.
Do you spend any time in the spring and summer when things slow down getting a head start on guys like that?
Usually not.
Yeah.
I really don't. You know, because once, like, we have our break.
Yeah.
And then, like, once preseason starts, I get too worried about, like, wait, let me see the new rookie on the team. So I'm worried about, like, kind of just like, let me see if is this guy going to start. I end up worrying about the NFL season to where I just can't go back to college again.
Because it's coming. And then once the season gets here, Saturdays, it's hard to sit down and really study a game when your mind's so much on Sunday.
Yes, I just casual. It's like whatever the big game is at 7:30 on Saturday night, I'm going to watch. Or maybe a little bit of the big 12:30 game, whatever. But I'm not going to sit there all day.
Right.
On my only day off during the season, really, a lot of the times. And go, I'm going to watch football all day long.
Spend 4 hours watching Spencer Rattler. It is fun to hit that time of the season, you know, February-ish, where you just dive all in. I don't know these kids yet. I'm going to get to know them, and it works pretty well for those 8 to 10 weeks.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's good for me. It's working so far, so we'll see.
That's
it. That's it?
I think that's it.
Booyah.
There's a show, that's a show.
There's a show, that's a show. All right, we did defense. We're going to do more. We did more AMAs next week for sure. I'm sorry about no Big Phil today. Big Phil texted me at 10:30 last night saying he had to go to the skin doctor. All right, that's what he does.
Happens. Yeah.
You know, that's why he's Dracula.
I'm going next week.
Are you?
Yeah.
Why?
Twice a year.
Are you? Good for you.
Yeah.
Dad's like twice a week, okay?
I know.
He is. He's very worried about his skin, and we do have a history of it in our family, so
Yeah.
I understand that.
Once they find something and really have to, you spend half a day where they go get it, you're like, okay,
right.
I'll go twice a year.
Yeah, well, and yes, when you're the whitest human on the planet and you grew up on a farm in Kentucky, you might have gotten sunburned a few times. And got a redneck every now and then. Definitely. But I hope everybody enjoyed it. We'll be back. Keep sending the questions. We're going to keep evaluating teams. Listen, I don't know exactly what we're going to do on Monday. We're going to think of something creative to do, talk about, and break down football. That's all I can really say. All right? But peace out. Everybody be good. Enjoy the Preakness this weekend on NBC. That'll be fun to watch. Yeah. And I think that's it. Paulie,
stay healthy.
You're the man. I'll do my best.
All right. Good to see you.
Peace out, everybody. Yo, what's up? Come on, man. Subscribe on YouTube to Chris Sims Unbuttoned Podcast. I need you. Please hit the subscribe button, please.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.